Hey there. This is my first video, so I have a feeling it's gonna be mainly my friends watching this, so hey guys, but to anyone else who happens to stumble across this, hey. I thought about making this video for quite a while, and it's not something I ever thought I would do, considering how things have gone. I'm just gonna be playing some footage of Deus Ex in the background so that you aren't totally bored, but I want to talk about a couple of things today because I think it can help some people out there and also myself. Let me just. Now, my name's Bailey, and I'm 19 years old as of yesterday. And I want nothing more than to be a writer and to be on the radio. In short, I like having my voice heard. Hence, probably why I'm making this video. I guess you could call it a vlog, but it doesn't really follow the same sort of traditional format. Today I want to talk about passion and finding it. Because recently I've realized what it is I want to do. And it might seem like a strange beginning, you know, putting this up on YouTube, but I decided fuck it. I've never been the usual sort of person, so why do things the usual sort of way? Now, I wanted to sort of take you guys back to high school, because I finished not too long ago, and I'm sure some of you watching this also have been there quite recently or are still attending. And I'm sure you know what it's like. It's a time full of confusion and mess and things sort of just flying around in your head and you have no idea what's going on. And you get asked a question a lot. And that question is, what do you want to do when you finish high school? And for a lot of people, it's university. I've heard that come up hundreds of times. And for myself as well, for a while it was my response. But as I grew older, as I learned more, I changed my perspective. Because I realized it wasn't what I wanted to do. I didn't like sitting down in a classroom full of high school kids for 5 hours a day, having to recite things and copy things down. It was sort of my antithesis, I guess you could say. I hated it. I was a much different person in high school, I think we all were. And bear with me because there is a point to all of this. I was quite withdrawn, shy, and to be honest, prone to lying. I hurt myself and a lot of other people with that. But I changed. And 3 years on from when I finished, I'm happy with where I am and where things are going. And for those of you out there who maybe don't know where they're going or aren't happy with things, I want to try and help make it better. So, to give you some idea of what I'm talking about when I say passion and why it's so important, I'm going to explain what I feel it is. For me, passion is writing, speaking, and having my messages, my ideas heard and understood by people. And it's been like that ever since I was 12. I wanted nothing more than to be a writer for many years, and a large part of me still wants to do that. Like I said, it started when I was 12 in school. I handed in a creative writing assessment, and I have to thank my teachers because I received a single piece of feedback that changed the way my entire life has gone since then. And it was, an accusation of plagiarism. My teacher brought my parents into school and handed them this poem that I had written and said, we can't have your kid plagiarizing work. And when my parents asked, why do you suspect that? She said, because this ability that's shown in this piece of writing, how good it is, that's not something someone his age could pull off. And I guess also from what she'd seen of me so far, being rather withdrawn, and to be honest, I didn't attend school all too often either. Excuse me. It was in that moment when someone questioned my ability that I realized what it was. And from that day, I kept writing and writing and writing in any form, on any piece of paper, computer, phone I could find. I would send text messages to my best friend, full of excerpts of stories that I'd come up with, new characters, situations in my mind. I'd send them off. I'd write them down, I'd store them up, and soon I had just piles of papers sitting around. It made me feel good having this skill that not many other people had. It made me feel strong. It gave me something that helped me to go on, to push forward. If I hadn't found that, I don't think I would have made it as far through high school as I would have. And so for those of you out there who maybe need to find their passion or need to get that push to really follow it, I want to try and help that. I found myself in high school the following year, and I made some great friends. But inadequacies showed up, as they always do in young kids, and the way I found a way around that was through lying or making up stories, using the abilities I thought I had, and I thought convincingly. Looking back, I'm sure most people could see through whatever it was I was trying to say to them. But, when you're that age, your lies are really for your own benefit. But I kept going with my passion, this idea that I could be a great writer, to match the likes of Feist or Brooks, and of course fantasy was my preferred choice when it came to reading, so it was my preferred choice when it came to writing as well. I wrote about mages and warriors and all that sort of thing. And it's very cliched, but I did dive into those worlds to sort of protect myself. Anyway, high school was a bit of a downward spiral, and I left the school I was at and shifted to another one, and then after a very shaky year there, I left. And I said, fuck it. And shortly after I left that, I said, fuck it to the idea of going to university as well. I didn't want to be that person who spent some of the best years of their life sitting down, learning things that might not even be useful to me. So I didn't. Instead, I delved myself into work, and the writing sort of faded away. But in between the time I began work and the time I had left school, I'd found another outlet for my passion, and that was radio. And it was all due to a series of coincidences that I have to thank fate, I guess, for every day. And I'll explain it. It started with a television show that my stepfather bought one day called Frasier, a comedy sitcom from the 1990s. One day when I was at home, I got bored and started watching it, and I got hooked. And I watched every season, and to this day I've rewatched the show quite a few times. But it was about a radio psychiatrist. But it was that idea of radio that stuck with me. And near the end of my schooling, I was looking for something to do when I left. And I thought, if the writing doesn't take off, maybe I need something else. So I looked to radio. And I kid you not, I made that decision, and the next day, at the shops, I met one of my parents' friends who happened to be in radio. And they said, yeah, we can get you an internship. And a couple of weeks later, there I was, interning at a big radio station, sitting in with all of the hosts and watching all of the production. It was amazing. And then I switched schools after that. And I was going to partake in engineering class, but at the last minute I decided to change to music. Lucky I did. A couple of weeks in, we had a guest come into the classroom, and he very plainly said, "Who wants to start a radio station?" And my hand shot up. I couldn't believe my luck, to be honest, and sometimes I still can't. So I started setting up this radio station. I met a lot of nice people. I learned a lot of useful skills. And over the next couple of years I would work on that. It was very slow going. It was community based and there wasn't a lot of funding behind it. We had a lot of passionate people, but they were also kids. So things would change. We lost a lot of the people who started working on it, and towards the end we had an almost entirely different set. But I remained. And then I got caught up in life. I started working, and I let those things drop to the side. I'd get home after an 8-hour day, and I'd sit down, I'd play some video games, or do some dishes, or cook a meal, or whatever. Then go to bed, get up at 6 in the morning, repeat. And this happened for quite a while. All the while fostering this idea that, I could be on the radio, I could be a writer. And it was only in the last 6 months or so, over the last year, really, that I changed tack again. I didn't want to work for people. After the experience I'd had in multiple jobs, I couldn't bear it. The idea of having to work for someone else for their benefit and get almost nothing from it. And so here I am. And I'll sum this up because I don't want to spend too much time on the background of it all. Here I am, 9 months later, and I've registered my own business. I've accumulated assets that I think will be very useful, and I'm learning about how to set it up, how to run it. And I know that there's a very good chance that it'll fail, that it won't be profitable, and that I'll have to go back to working for other people, but it's something that I need to do. And this business, it involves my writing, it involves my hosting, my radio. I haven't let go of those things. They're still there. And I will keep working on them. So I figure that's enough background so that you guys can understand where I'm coming from and why I want to talk about the things I'm going to talk about. So now I'd like to talk about finding passion. For me, it was easy, but I know for some, it isn't. Sometimes people spend years and lots of money and just their time trying to find that thing that they can devote themselves to. And I would say, don't give up on that. But sometimes your passion doesn't necessarily have to be something you think you'd like. I was very withdrawn inwards, as I said, and yet I found my passion in speaking. Quite the polar opposite, really. So, take a look at yourself and think about what it is that you need to accomplish, what it is that you want to get out of your life, really. And aim to achieving that. And when you walk out on the streets and you're looking around and you see all these things, the cars, the trees, the people. I dare you just to think. Just take that 20 minutes when it is you're walking to a friend's house or whatever, and just take that time to think. Is your passion something creative? Do you want to be someone who figuratively gives birth to things? Like an artist, a musician, a writer, a sculptor, hell, a game designer? Or do you want to be someone who helps others? Like a counselor? Or a coach? Trainer? And then look at yourself and see how that can help you as well. Help you fill those gaps, or to just sustain you. And then just try it. It can be really scary. The first time I was about to stand up in front of a crowd, I was terrified, but the second I got up on that stage and looked at all the people and the microphone in front of me, it all clicked into place. It made sense. Let me just see how much we got left to go. Alright, about halfway there. But following it is important. But it's also important to realize that sometimes you might have to take a break, to sort out other things, to make sure you're not letting your family or your friends fall behind, because what's the point of having something you enjoy doing without the ability to tell others, to show it off, or to have them benefit from it as well? And I don't want this to come off as some sort of self-help video, because that's not what it is. It's me looking at a webcam and rambling. But I felt like doing it. And for a long time, I haven't, because I was worried about what other people would think. If you get anything out of this at all, it's that you shouldn't care what other people think. And I know that is cliched. Very, very cliched, but sometimes cliches are true. And I think this one is. And I'm planning on uploading more to this channel. I plan on doing more online and just in general. I want to do more. And that's the thing. When you find your passion, and I really hope you do, it'll drive you. Sometimes it'll drive you to do dumb things. But those dumb things are wonderful. Really, really wonderful. This video here might be a dumb thing, but it's such a release for me. I want to thank you all for watching. I plan on doing more of these about different things. Hope you have a great day.